In the previous video, we had discussed that how the action potential caused the electrical signals to move inside the neuron. Along with this, we had also discussed polarized, depolarized and repolarized state of a neuron. Simultaneously, we had also discussed the graph of an action potential. Hello and welcome to Learn Something New. So in today's video, we would be discussing about the process through which the information is transmitted from one neuron to another. So the process through which the information is transmitted from one neuron to another is known as synaptic transmission. And the process of synaptic transmission takes place at a junction called synapse. As you could see in the image, synapse is the interconnection of axon terminals and dendrites. So by observing the image, we could say that synapse is the space between one neuron and another neuron, or between axon terminal of one neuron and dendrite of another neuron. It is not necessary that the synapse will be formed between neurons only. The synapse can be formed between gland, muscles, etc. Synapses are composed of three main parts, that are a presynaptic neuron, a postsynaptic neuron, and a synaptic cleft. So let's talk about the composition of synapses one by one. So let's begin by discussing the presynaptic neuron. Presynaptic neurons are those neurons that transmit the signal to the another neuron. Before moving ahead with the explanation of presynaptic neuron, I would like to tell you all that in the synapses, the transmission of impulses took place in the form of chemicals. And the chemicals that help the neuron to communicate with each other are known as neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters in the presynaptic neuron are stored in a sac-like structure called vesicles. So here you can see that vesicles are a sac-like structure inside which neurotransmitters that are represented by red dots are present. The action potential that we had discussed briefly in the previous video inside the presynaptic neuron causes the vesicles to fuse with the presynaptic membrane. That is the membrane of presynaptic neuron. When these vesicles fuse with the presynaptic membrane, the neurotransmitter that were stored inside them is released into the synaptic cleft. As you know that synaptic cleft is a component of synapse. So with this slide, we are going to understand the second component of synapse, that is synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft is the fluid-filled space between two neurons in which the neurotransmitter that is released by the presynaptic neuron is decoded by converting electrical signal into chemical signal. So now let's understand the last component of synapse, that is the postsynaptic neuron. The postsynaptic neuron is the vice versa of presynaptic neuron. These neurons, instead of sending the signals, receives the signal. The postsynaptic neuron are able to receive the signal through the receptors that is present on their membrane at the side of synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitter get attached to the receptor that is specific for it and hence cause the action potential inside the next neuron. If the synapse is formed between a neuron and a gland, then the function of postsynaptic neuron is performed by the gland. So with this, we had came to an end of synaptic transmission. But before ending to this video, I would like to tell you all a little about neurotransmitters. You can say that neurotransmitters are a kind of signaling molecule that are sent by a neuron to communicate with the another neuron. Neurotransmitters are also of two types. One is excitatory neurotransmitter and the another one is inhibitory neurotransmitter. If the neurotransmitter that is received by the receptors of postsynaptic neuron is excitatory, then only the action potential will be caused inside the postsynaptic neuron. But if the receptors of postsynaptic neuron receives an inhibitory neurotransmitters, no action potential will be seen in the next neuron. As a result, there will be no transmission of signals. So with this, we came to an end of this video. Thanks for watching.